Hey Facebook, what's going on everyone? What I'm doing is I brought my big bag here in the office because I want to spread it around. It was in my car. And I'm just going to break it down and put it in my smaller bag. And the reason is I'm going to do a trip tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing. But the reason I'm on Facebook Live is I got a couple of messengers. They asked about my opinion on how do I get through of all the stress that I went through. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So let me see what I got here. Yeah, I gotta get all this too. Got this. Sorry, I'm gonna just pull stuff out right quick. Got my container. One bag. Two bags. My tent. Where is that? Exterior. Got it. I lost that case. So, anyway. Here we go. That. Oh, yes. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm going to take a second. Alright, so what happened was, I got a couple of message about that last video I did. Hey man, what's going on, brother? About how did I get through, how do I go through everything I've been through, like when I went homeless, when I had my son pass away, I lost a business actually, military, and all the stresses that happened to me. What did I do and how did I get through it? And so in context, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I did. Okay, so it really started off with me growing up. The very first thing that people don't realize about stress in life is your environment of how you were raised plays a big part on how you handle stresses. Okay, so as I was raised up in the environment of what we call the ghetto. Hey Alice, what's going on? I was raised up in the ghetto. I knew friends who sold drugs. I knew friends who were in the gang. I knew friends who was doing all kinds of craziness, pretty much everything you see now. So that was how I've grown up. But even then, I guess that is, once you get in that environment stressed, you don't realize how stressful you are until a different type of stress hits you. So the first major stress is when I went homeless. Okay, so from ghetto to becoming rich when I went to New York and all of that, and then when I went homeless, I really wasn't as stressful. And this was even before I joined the military, so I don't know none of this. It was the idea that I had a vehicle, I had a little bit of money to get gas and so on and so forth. I had a little bit of money of just surviving, just the basic necessities. Okay. Hey, Hammy, how you doing? So when I went homeless, it wasn't as bad as a stressful situation, like someone who was raised with parents and the bills are paid and so on and so forth. And for that person to go homeless, I can imagine that's a very stressful situation. So, but for me, it wasn't as stressful. It was an inconvenience more so than stress. And the inconvenience aspect was, how did I get to be homeless in the first place? Okay. Later after that, I gotten out of the homeless and I went into the military. When I've gotten in the military, that's when I had got with a lady. We had a baby, and 23 days after the baby was born, the baby was in my arm and passed away. Now that stress, that when your child dies, and that is that is a pain. It's not even stress, it's pain. It is an emotional pain that you just really can't describe unless you've actually been through it. But how did I go through it? I just went through it. I was just going through the motion. I was just going through it. I didn't plan anything about the funeral. I didn't plan anything about anything. It was that at that moment, it was just my child passing away in my arms, and then I was crying, and then I stopped crying, and then we went to the funeral, and then I cried again. And then after the funeral, I don't know, maybe because I was just in that first part of the environment, that when we buried our my child, our son, it was, I stopped crying. Now, again, don't take it that because I say I stopped crying doesn't mean that the pain just went away. It didn't. In fact, the pain, and every year the birthday comes around, and every year I think about it, but the pain literally did not go away until roughly 3 to 4 years after the funeral. Okay. So homeless, right, is a inconvenience. A child dying, that is a pain that only another parent who recognizes that can sympathize. But I want everyone to realize that that scenario, that pain, when you're dealing with people, and when you're dealing with your job, and when you're dealing with other things that's in your life, that can never compare to that pain. So for me, it was always, you don't mean anything. And to other people who, not now, but other people back then who knew me, they just thought I was cold hearted. But I really wasn't cold hearted. It was what they were doing to my mind and to how I felt about things in life. That was just stupid. For you to even think that was a problem. And I grew up with that thought process that is stupid, and I don't know why you're upset about that when you go through those kind of pains. Then the military came along, and then we got through the training, and we got, to me, that different physical pain is just a different type of scenario. People quit because they just quit. It's like when your body hurts and you're tired and you're hungry. It's like people who go on fasting. If you're on a fast, right? If you can't handle a little couple of hours of not eating and you get a little hungry, really? And I just don't. Again, it's just how I was raised, from where I was raised. I just don't get it. If you say you want something bad enough, if you really want it, then why are you stopping? Because of a little pain? And so in the military, I took myself and I trained myself, and I literally pushed myself to death. And in fact, it's so bad that to go through some of the programs that I went through, there has been students, candidates actually died in those courses. Now, again, that was just the way I was wired. That's just the way I was wired. Okay. Then from there, the business aspect, the entrepreneur stuff. So when I became an entrepreneur after the military, and we started, when I say we, me and my people, we started the real estate, and it was hard because when you own a business and you're an entrepreneur, and you really want to go after an entrepreneur lifestyle of helping the community in your product or service, and you have people coming along with you who believes in you and all of that, and you, for some reason, you just can't make it work. You feel kind of you feel kind of bad to a different type of bad, because other people depended on you and you let them down, and the product that you thought was a good product just ain't a good product because the consumers told you it's not a good product. And so it was a time in, I would say in 2017, that I wanted to do a business, and it just hit me hard. I mean, emotionally hard. Anyone know about entrepreneurs or starting your own business? You know that you're putting in long hours. You're sacrificing a lot financially, socially, relationships. And in that position, in 2017, I literally thought about committing suicide. And so in that context, why did I feel like I committed suicide? And I thought about it. It was just an avenue to quit, because it was easier to deal with everything else. And I just literally not decided to do it. I literally was sitting there, and mind you, keep in mind, that thought process of wanting to commit suicide was me actually having a PhD in psychiatry, me actually serving the military, me actually had a child pass away, me actually was homeless, me actually was raised in the ghetto, and entrepreneurship was a different stress that you just didn't know. There's no way to compare that to that effect. And so that was then, and so 2017 was a extremely emotionally bad year for me as far as entrepreneurship. But I got through it, and so the key is this. So that's the setup, that's the scenario. How did I get through it? Well, you just live. I mean, you just literally have to just live. So when my son passed away, at the time I was in the ministry, and we buried him, and literally that following Sunday I was up in the pulpit preaching. You just have to continuously live. Now, the reason some people live past it and some people can't live past it, and it's just my personal opinion and professional opinion, is some people want to feel that pain because they need an excuse of why life is the way it is. Some people literally just want to not be successful and be in a mess because they literally just want that excuse, okay? I never was that kind of guy to want to have an excuse of why. I'm not that blaming kind of guy. And even when I went to school in psychiatry, they teach you, well, if a child kills a group of students with a machine gun, the reason they did it is because of the parents whooped them. Bull crap. I don't believe in that theory, and I don't believe in that. So anyway, so my point is, when you have stress and you go through stress, how do you go through it? What is your goal past that? And I did a video on the worst case scenario, right? In the worst case scenario, when my son died and I buried him, the worst case scenario, I didn't know what that worst case scenario was. He just died, and I had to take care of the congregation. I had other responsibilities. So my mind just focused on the responsibility of others. in my son's timeline, it was the congregation as a preacher, because I was a assistant preacher with two churches at the time. When it came to the entrepreneur, it was hurtful because I had to tell them goodbye, but at the same time, what am I going to do? Am I going to just stop, or do I have now still goals, right? So I came up with some new goals, and I came up with some new ideas of what I want to do, and I'm pushing towards that continuously, pushing towards that. And so every day, when you hear me talk, and every day how I talk and what I talk about, and the vision board and all of that stuff, I say it because without it, it's like that rat or that hamster in that wheel. You're running, and you're getting tired of living, and you realize you're not going nowhere. Without a goal in your life, without a purpose in your life, you're just going in circles, and time never stops. And every single day I'm getting closer to my dad, and I'm always mindful of that situation. So if you're going, or if you're in stressful, if you're been in a bad relationship, if you've been in a bad, or you have a bad job and you do better, if you want to come from one level and go to the next level, you won't get no sympathy from me. It is hard. It is hard, and you need to realize to grow from one level of your life into a different and new lifestyle. It is hard, because you're not the only one who wants to do what you want to do, and you have to fight that urge. You have to fight that laziness. You have to fight that tiredness. And so let me give you a scenario. You got two people. They want the same goal. I'm just gonna throw that's the goal. Two people, the same goal. Well, we have in the beginning, we all have the same energy of the excitement of the goal. Okay. Then all of a sudden, they're tired and they want to go to sleep. Well, while they're sleeping 2 hours, I'm going a little bit. They wake up and we both go again. And I go to sleep and they go to sleep. I wake up 2 hours earlier than I go. And then all of a sudden, then we both wake up and we're both going. And then they want to party with their girlfriends or boyfriends. And while they're partying, that's the 3 or 4 hours, I'm just going to continuously work. And then all of a sudden, they're now working as I'm working. And then just a matter of time, because who's going to get to the goal first, right? And that process, you have to realize, if you don't realize that, you're just living a dream. You're just living a dream. So how I went through it, I just kept myself with a goal in mind. I just kept myself going and taking a chance. If I go to zero in my finances, then I'll go to zero. And I'll find a new way to continuously find a way to make what I want happen. Education is the big key. Learn about business. Learn about investing. Take your time, okay? And then you just have to want it. Now, is there a reason why I want it? Of course. Do you think I want that house and do all of that? I would say probably 10% of that board is just for me. I love to travel, and I'm looking for a mate. Okay. The rest of that's inheritance for my kids and their kids. Everything I build is not for me. I can't take none of this to the next world. I can't take the money that I make to the next world. I can't take the houses and the business to the next world. But I have the ability to work it, to build it, to do it, and to make it as successful as I can make it. And because of that thought process that I can't take it and it's not for me, I'm literally doing my life for the inheritance of my kids' kids. And that to me is worth it, right? I and with that thought, that's how I became where I'm at right now. And am I easy to be with? No. In part that I'm not easy to be with is because anyone who knows me knows I am gentle, but I am hard at the same time. You can't you can't come to me with an excuse and think that excuse is okay and the reason why we're not living to our best ability. You know what I mean? And if you can't live your life fulfilling a life that is beyond your life, then what good is living? I mean, even a rose, you put a seed in the ground, you focus on the dirt, you put the water on it, the plant comes out of the ground, you feel excited, okay, you're doing something right, and then you continuously, and then eventually the rose is there. Now, when the rose is living, do you think the rose is selfish and thinking I'm only here for myself? No, the rose is there for everyone who's just passing by, who's just doing what. It's not just me who actually made the garden. Because as you and I know, since we're on Facebook, we'll take a picture of it and share it with everyone else. So what we do doesn't just affect me. What I do doesn't just affect me. It's affecting my kids and the kids that they don't even have kids. And that to me is the reason why I live the way I live. The stresses that I had, I went through it because I've always kept my mind to never quit, find a different way, and keep going to a higher goal. Hey June, what's going on? So the best from the heart was be good by yourself first, and there's just kind of strong heart feelings of God blessing, and keep up. The great words will be one. Well, I agree, June. Yes, and hey, Kelly, I agree, June. And okay, so let's talk biblical since. Um, hey, Helen, how you doing? So let's talk a little biblical. Here's the thought. Here's my thought on biblical in the context of what we're now talking about. If I went to God and I say, God, in my heart, you put in my heart to have a successful business, and the successful business is for me to be a $500,000 or $1 million business. Okay. If that is the case, do I know leadership skills? Do I know what it means to handle tough decisions and come with tough decisions? Do I know how to work 120 hours? Do I know what it needs to take to not only hire the right people, but to hire the people who has the same vision, and then have the vision come about in the product and service, and make the product and service the best ability to what it has, and it goes out and the consumer likes it or not, and adjust to that effect? So in context, what I'm saying is this: when God gives you something, it's already pre-planned in it becoming successful, right? The problem with a lot of people is when stress hits, then they say, God must not want me to have it. That is not the case. When stress hits, you have to go through that stress because it's a learning. So it's something that you're supposed to learn from. And then you keep going. Hit. What did I learn? How do I get through this? And in time, you'll have so much stress in your life that when it's time to have a successful business, and the business is to make a $500,000 or $1 million, not only will you be a strong leader, but you will know how to handle strong problems, and you'll know how to have what God gives you become successful. So yes, you have to be by yourself, But yes, you have to learn, you have to go through, you have to grow. And we all use the analogy of the dirt, right? If you're the seed, you're in the dirt, you come out the dirt, and then you blossom. But that's what, so for me, I believe in the good Lord. I believe in everything He put me through is for a reason. It's beyond my finite mind of not understanding, but it is what it is, right? We just can't keep going. We just can't stop. All right. So anyway, I'm over here packing. I got, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. If you're going through some things, I can help as a psychiatrist. I can help in a personal position, going through a lot of hardship myself. But so just let me know offline. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue packing or repacking because I got an adventure tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna have a good time. Other than that, thank you for spending your time with me, and have a great evening. 7 o'clock, I'm gonna finish this up, go get something to eat, and then go to bed. Have a great night, everyone, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.